All right, we're live. Hey, how's it going? Wasn't expecting to be on tonight, but hey, we're here. And it's not as hot as it's been. Welcome to the pre-show show. I'm testing out this bogus little mosquito killer. We'll see if it works, but I already know it doesn't. So I'm preparing myself to be disappointed. Anyway, how's everybody doing? And welcome to the Real Taiwan. Now, I hate when it does this. Okay, there we go. Now we got it. I'm trying to look at my own stream so I can see you guys' comments. Okay, I'm MJ, and it's Tuesday night. I'm normally not on Tuesday night. I'm normally on Sunday. Feifei, fist bump. Wow, been a long time. I guess because I'm slightly earlier than usual. How you been doing? Good to see you. Amazing. Hey, look at this. This is really cool. This is a little sunshade I got for the Pocket 3. Just fits right on the screen. Of course, I don't need it now. But yeah, good to see you, Feifei. Feifei. Oh, I can't even talk. Listen, man, oh man, I had a bad couple days. Excellent, excellent. Well, you know, we always like having you with us no matter, you know, how long you're on with us. You guys know I like to party. I go the other side of the highway, hang out with us Thai guys, sometimes hang out with Filipino guys, and we have barbecue and stuff. Let me tell you, Saturday I went and didn't start a barbecue. I started early, like about, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. My whole, you know, modus operandi was I was going to be like, oh, thank you. Well, I'm going to tell you about it. I started out, you know, the idea was that start early, end early, right? I wanted to kind of be in bed early on Sunday night. I was, with a case of food poisoning. Apparently, I got sick from some Thai sausage. I'm getting mosquito bites. That's why I got this little thing. I'll tell you about this in a second. Let me tell you something. I hate puking. I really do. I just hate it. I've always hated it. I would get sick. When I was a kid in elementary school, the first and second grade, something about that school cafeteria, at least once every 2 weeks, I would be in the infirmary in the afternoon with a headache and sometimes puking about 50% of the time. And I would just pray that I wasn't going to puke because I can't stand it. But here's the thing. I just can't stand puking so much I don't want to do it. But when I do it, I instantly feel better. So there are times when I just say, you know what? It's time to do it. And I laid in the bed. I had a headache. My stomach was really hurting. I felt terrible. I suppressed this urge. Yep. The taste, the action, she says. Yeah. But well, let me ask you this though. As soon as you do it, like it's 5 minutes of I'd rather do anything else but time. But immediately after, do you feel relief? That's the question. Because I do. I think most people do. I'm not going to describe it. But let's just say that, see, your stomach, it does feel better. Your stomach, you know, empties, what, every 2.5 hours, something like that. So if you're puking 5 or 6 hours later, I guess, I don't know this for sure, but I think it might be coming from the, from part of your colon, you know. But the interesting thing is food can rot and putrefy in your gut the same as it will just sitting out of the refrigerator. You leave a piece of meat out on the counter, it's going to go rotten, and if it doesn't get digested, it's the same thing. But I ate some like homemade sausages it's made by some local vendor, you know, it's frozen, everything's frozen, it's cooked well and stuff, but there's something about that sausage, I don't know what it is, and I've eaten it before, I had it, you know, many times, but when I first got sick, I'm going to use that as a euphemism, when I first got sick, you know, not much action, and I'm like, okay, and my body said, but wait, there's more. And finally, it just went like everything, you know, I threw everything I had. And I could instantly tell when the bad food passed out. There's something about it, you know, and my gosh, it was like 5 minutes of, I'd rather get stitches without anesthesia. Really, because I've done that many times. I hate anesthesia. And I felt a lot better, but gosh, was I weak, and I had a headache, and I didn't sleep. It was like early in the morning, like 5 or 6 in the morning, and I didn't do anything the next day, lays around sleeping. I didn't eat anything. I didn't eat anything until the next, hey Rob, yes you are. Fist bump, bro. I didn't eat anything until actually 48 hours later. And so tonight I went out with some of our friends who went to a movie, and my wife decided that she wanted to go to Din Tai Fung, which is this famous restaurant. So I actually ate kind of a full meal. But you know, the weird thing is I still don't feel 100%. We're on the topic of puking. Yeah, 1-800-PUK. ING, and we'll see what happens. You want to know what's funny? What's funny is I had a national talk show host in 1994 and 1995 on Talk America, and I still remember the phone number, 254-TALK, 1-800-254-TALK. Oh, I can't do radio unless I detentionize my voice. There you go. I'll tell you what they have, though. In my opinion, they have one of the best hot and sour soups in the business. And if you order a side order, which I didn't tonight because I didn't want to push it, ask them for some hot oil. Ask them for some layo. And boy, if you get that layo, you know. Yeah, you heard it click. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I don't know if you've ever seen me do this. I actually did like an online vocal therapy session one time for somebody. Yeah, like doing this. Yeah. But, sounds gross. But instantly, it's clearer. And there you go. It's as simple as that. Problem is, I'm going to be the first one to admit it. I need to start doing some serious vocal workouts because I'm kind of losing my singing voice from not using it. Hope you don't feel faint, because I got to tell you. I was feeling so bad that I started to think maybe I have COVID. But you know, with COVID, which is funny, the first time I had COVID, the second time first time I had COVID, I had a fever. Second time I didn't. And I was thinking, wow, I don't have a fever, but I didn't feel that sick outside of my stomach, but I'm still not quite right. But here's the thing. In less than 2 weeks, I'm going to the States. Now, here's the good news. This morning, I weighed myself, and I was 113.4 kilograms. Approximately 3 years ago, on a light day, I weighed 125. There was a time when I was up to about 128 kilograms. So for me to be down to 113, and before I go back to the States, I'm absolutely certain, because I'm still in losing mode, and I want to continue my fast. I just ate tonight with my family, Excuse me. Sorry. But I'm probably going to be down to 110 or maybe lower. People looking at me. There's a chick on a cycle with her boyfriend on the back. He has a helmet and she doesn't. So let me tell you about this. This has I presume I opened up one and looked at it, and I didn't take it out completely, but I think it has an 18650 battery in it, not Samsung. There's a charging circuit. There's a couple of violet, or maybe they're white, and they just have filtered, LEDs. And if you press it again, it gives you a white LED like it's a lamp, and there's a hanging thing on it. But this is supposed to be a mosquito killer. I don't blame anyone who would instantly unsubscribe from my channel upon hearing the next statement, but I saw on Facebook, and I'll tell you what, feel free to unlike this video, and if you really, really hate Facebook, hit the unlike button twice, okay, to just let me know it double. But I understand. Thanks, Feifei. I really appreciate you joining us. So good to see you, sweetie. You take care, all right? Hope that you come back to Taiwan soon. We can hang. So be sure and hit that unlike button twice to register double with YouTube if you don't like Facebook. But there was an ad, and sometimes I like to do social experiments. They always cost me a little bit of money, but not much. I'll tell you about another one I did in the States years ago. About this veteran who lives, in an area near the lake. We got lots of mosquitoes, and he was sick and tired of getting bit. So we talked to his son, and of course it's all stock footage, His son was a former NASA engineer, and they shot, the shot changes to some guy who's too young to be a former NASA engineer. But anyway, it hit all, it said that, they studied and they found the magic frequency of ultraviolet light that attracts mosquitoes, and they showed the mosquito thing in action and how it would attract so many mosquitoes, and I got 3 of them. They're really cheap, they're super cheap, and I paid for a little extra fast shipping because I realized it was from the shippinghub.com people, which are notoriously bad. And so the thing showed up, and one of them is dead out of the box. It doesn't charge, it doesn't come on. So I opened it up, and it's going to be a thrash. I got to pull the module apart and see what's going on, and maybe I can fix it. I mean, I fixed my water pick just because I wanted the exercise to do. It has a thermistor in it. It didn't even need it. I just took it out of the circuit and started working it. But I'm sitting here on the table with this thing, and so far I don't have any evidence. They give you this brush. It's really amazing. I think it might just be optimistic. They give us a long handled brush. It looks like a brush I clean my shaver with. And that's for brushing out, supposedly all the hundreds of mosquitoes that you're going to kill with this thing. But I don't know. So I decided to place an order just to see, because, they're not supposed to be lying on Facebook. Wow. So here's what happened. Things came in. Got it today. Singapore Post. Came from Singapore. Pretty fast, actually, like 7 or 8 days. So then In the intervening time, don't ask me why, looking at Facebook again, and I saw an ad for another guy who figured out the magic frequency of light that attracts mosquitoes. And he also added an interesting feature to his little mosquito zapper, and that it like emits CO2 and does some other magic tricks. And it turns out it's the exact same thing with a different story. So I wrote, because you know, these are all like stories. So I wrote, I thought it was a veteran who had a son that's a NASA engineer. Is it possible I might have been scammed on Facebook? So, if nothing more, this thing is a hanging lantern for my tent later. And it does have a battery in it. And the battery, I can't tell if it's hardwired or not. I do see some cabling in there. But the battery is a battery that I can use in my high-powered flashlight no matter what. So I can take that apart if I need to. But, you know, the point being that if this does kill one or two mosquitoes, it's all right. But the problem with most of these bug zappers is that they kill indiscriminately, and they kill good bugs too. That's a very good question. I can't really tell. See, normally I would have been bitten by now dozens of times and known it. I think I'm feeling mosquito bites, but I'm not really sure. Usually they buzz around my face and stuff, but there's nothing in here. There's nothing. I mean, they haven't been zapped, haven't heard any zaps. I don't see any dead mosquitoes. I don't see any action. But I mean, I would be happy. I mean, here's the thing. If I'm swimming with sharks, you know, I don't have to kill them. I just want them to go away. So shark repellent is fine with me. So if this is a mosquito repellent, then it's okay. That's probably more what it is. But right now it feels very moist. But yeah, you're right. And it hasn't rained for about a week or so. Normally though, man, after a rain, it's like, looks like a flock of birds. No, it's mosquitoes. It's crazy. Anyway, so I just charged it up for a little while. It comes with this cable, and it's got a barrel connector on it, like a power supply, and a USB-A on the other side. You've seen those. Something like one of those essential oil kind of mist machines will do. After rain, it's feeding time. Yes, it is. It is. It's clobbering time too. And you guys just see me going like during live streams. I'm doing this all the time because I'm not doing it now. But I don't think it's because of this. But even if it was, I'd probably have to hang it from my hat or off to the side or something like that. But looking at this on camera, this would make a pretty good beer glass. Maybe I should just take the guts out. That's what I should do. I should take the electrics out of this. Just leave the LED in there like that and put some glass and turn this into a, you know, like a rum cocktail glass. Yeah, that's the kind of thing, yeah. So, but I will say, you know, if it does kill any mosquitoes, I'm going to put one in my daughter's room. It's got 3. You know, I wanted to get them for camping and stuff. I have an opportunity to test it outside. I'm going to try to spend some time outside before I head out of town. But anyway, yeah, social experiments, I perform them sometimes. Sometimes I like to see what people do. I was talking to my wife about this and some others the other day. Like when I used to have a Northwest Airlines Gold card, I would sometimes not get in the VIP line. I would get in the back of the regular economy line, and I would hold my passport and my ticket in my hand where my card was visible, you know, like on the outside. I'm just holding it just to see what would happen. I remember one time I was kind of early and the line wasn't too long. There might maybe 5 or 6 people in front of me. They were waiting for, the kiosk to open. And I had, like this is the chocolate. Let's just say, so I had my ticket and my VIP card like this, and I was holding it down, okay? So it's facing out, right? Just holding it normal, okay? And, if I turn my hand this way, then I would put the card on the outside. And so, like a minute and a half, that's all it took. Some sharp-eyed guy at the kiosk, I'm like 6 people away over there, and he said, "Sir, come here." "Yes, you." And I walked up, and he opened a kiosk just for me, processed me instantly before he opened the rest of the lines. Like, wow, that's cool. Other times I was checking in with my wife coming back. See, I've taken so many KLM flights from Thailand, to and from Thailand, because of frequent flyer miles. I had like 150,000. I think I flew to Thailand 3 times, completely free. And the deal is they upgrade you if they can. So I was coming back to Taiwan with my wife, and actually we were dating at that time. That was just before we got married. So she wasn't technically my wife, she was my traveling companion, but we were traveling together. So what happened was they saw my gold card and they said, "Oh, you have a gold card?" And I said, "Yes, I do." Here's the thing. I showed it to them and it was expired, because what had happened was I used up all my miles. And I hadn't traveled enough internationally, like I'm talking about continent-wide. See, the thing is, you go to the United States. In 2003, I traveled to Taiwan 5 times from the US. I mean, I racked up a home run just that year, right? But I wasn't traveling quite that much, and I was burning the miles up going over to Thailand, having fun, and doing some business there too. Point being, though, that I had dropped below the mileage threshold to keep my gold card. But I had the card, the physical card, and it has the expiration date on it, and I wasn't trying to cheat anybody. I gave it to them so they could look at it, and plus they do have access to my information, and they upgraded me to first class anyway. They put my wife and I on the upper deck of a 747. I had never even been up there before. It was amazing. So I got pictures of my wife and I. They're hilarious. I should show them sometime. We were on the top deck, and it's funny because then you can see how it, the cabin actually goes like this. You can see, wow, it really is an aluminum tube. But you can see how it's kind of like, if you look at the fuselage and it has that bump and it goes down towards the nose. It's pretty interesting, right? So we go up there, and the first thing, they got their own set of flight attendants apparently that operate just on the top deck. And we hadn't even sat down for 30 seconds and they're pouring champagne, and my wife's half in the bag before we hit the white line at the end of the runway. It's amazing. That was hilarious. Rob is saying he doesn't want to talk about how many miles and more, Star Alliance miles, I lost because of the pandemic. Right, because you had to cancel. I know. But I'm going to tell you something that ticks me off even more, because, anybody who's flown, like any kind of a professional flyer, any jet set kind of person, knows that Northwest were the ones. I had a Taiwan travel agent in the United States that had a Northwest contract. Her name was Cynthia Lee. And I would call Cynthia, "Hey, I want to go to Taiwan on this date and that date." And, even though it was a while back, I mean, if you think about it, in the year 2002, $750 to go a round trip in 2002 to Taiwan was amazing. My family, we're traveling back to the States in 2 weeks. And Rob says they just expired. Couldn't you use them? Yeah. And they didn't extend them. They know, and they don't care. Oh, I'm getting bit on my ankles. Hey, I'm going to put this down here. I'm going to put this down on the seat. See what happens. Yeah. So Northwest was great, and their mileage targets were actually attainable. So Delta, in my opinion, the worst airline ever created. And Delta, if you'd like to change my mind, you can fly me somewhere. But I flew with you back in 2010, and you made my life miserable because you suck. And here's the problem. I had built up, and this is why I'm pissed. I had built up more mileage, and I at least had like a silver card with Northwest, right? Well, Delta absorbed Northwest, and they said, well, don't worry, because your mileage, we're just going to roll over into our program. I think that's the Star Alliance program, if I'm not mistaken, right? Except for one thing. The bar is so high you can't reach it. I didn't qualify for a single thing. I had a silver card. I had mileage for a silver card under Northwest. Those miles went into the Delta system, and I didn't qualify for anything. I mean, I didn't qualify for like a snack, a drink, nothing. I would fly for free with KLM to Thailand, and 3/4 through the flight, they would embarrass the crap out of me by coming up to me with this package. At home, I got all these little blue little zip bags that say KLM on them. They're pretty useful for stuff. I could put like my toothbrush or my razor in it. But they had like these little porcelain statuettes of like the famous Dutch houses, and they've got a wax seal on the top. It's some kind of alcohol. I never opened it. It looks so cool. I got like 4 or 5 of them, in the curio cabinet in my house, but they would embarrass the heck out of me. I'm sitting there like, I'm wearing my Bush hat, got 3 whiskeys, and they come over and they go, hey, Mr. Klein, yeah, I says, you're one of our Star Alliance VIP travelers. And everybody's looking around me like, and I'm like, oh, no autographs, no autographs. I was like, come on, guys. It's hilarious, right? And they would give me this thing, I mean, it was crazy. I would, on a free flight. I mean, I understand that I'm a gold member, but I didn't pay for it, So I kind of felt like getting the free flight was the thing. But I got the same VIP privileges as if I paid for the flight, and I just thought was amazing. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But I of course accepted it, and it turns out my wife ended up really loving those things. I took it back and said, I can't wait to drink this. She's like, don't open. I go, well, why not? So anyway, I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't even know what it's in. But you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So, but I mean, and they were like, I'd put my bags down, and it was like 7 or 8 kilograms overweight. They just push it on there. Man, oh, this guy's over there trying to get killed. So I go up to Delta, and what I get from them is take your belt and your shoes off. Yeah, hi to you too. So yeah, it's like, I hate Delta and stuff. So we're flying with United, and I haven't flown with United in a long, long time. But United was good to me one time. But I think I've only taken one international flight with United. So I signed up for their I signed up for, the United Frequent Flyer program for all the good it'll do me, because I'm probably, quite honestly, never going to make this trip again. I'm going to say it, guys. People in America have lost their mind. People who don't follow me apparently have lost their mind. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you one more thing. I know what happened recently was really bad. I'm not going to comment on it, except to say that if the intended thing that the bad person tried to do was successful, I would cancel my trip, because it would be too dangerous for me to take my family there. But I got to tell you guys, I am apprehensive. Suddenly on my YouTube feed, all these, airline Karens, Karen gets kicked off of a flight. I mean, I have people on my live stream ask me questions like, how come you don't know when Thanksgiving is? You're an American. Or why doesn't your wife have U.S. citizenship? Look, guys, I don't hate the States. I just don't have any horse in the race anymore. I don't live there anymore. And there are certain things that are just not advantageous, So I'm going to ask you, okay, so why don't you have, I don't know, why don't you have citizenship in Grand Cayman? I don't know. You weren't born there, didn't buy it or whatever. It's like, I'm going to stick around my sister's house. I'm going to let my sister do the talking. I'm probably going to let her do the driving, because all I need is some overzealous law enforcement officer, and they're all over the place, to try to do some sobriety tests. And it's not going to work with me, because I know the law, and the law isn't defined. There's no state in the United States that defines drunkenness as not being able to touch your nose with your eyes shut. It doesn't matter. It's blood alcohol. Unless there's a scientifically quantifiable test for that, I'm not going to do it. And my doctor is providing me with a document that, it documents, if I can use that term 2 times in a sentence, it documents the fact that I have a problem with dizziness. Like you guys remember, I fell off my bike, I do have a problem with dizziness. It's not vertigo, it's dizziness. It comes and goes. I've taken some medication for it, didn't do anything. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not. And so I probably can't walk a line. And those supposedly roadside sobriety tests are just designed to make you fail, so they can take you in and book you and put you in their little system. To me, it's no different than going to Shaman Airport so the CCP can put you in their little tracking system. It's no different. So the answer is no. You want to give me a breathalyzer test? Fine. You want to take me to a hospital? Fine. So I would probably end up in jail. I would win, but it's just such a thrash. I'm not looking forward to that. So as long as I sit in the passenger side. But the weird thing is, they ask passengers, you got a driver's license? Yeah, but what I don't have is a steering wheel in front of me. So anyway, the other thing too is there's quite a bit of, you see the lights flashing on there. There's a police officer in front of me. I'm out here in the Jarjar store drinking beer out in the open. And this is why I love Taiwan. It's completely free. There's no open container laws. If this is the States, the cops would be over here questioning me. What are you doing? What does it look like I'm doing? Mike, fist bump. I'm drinking. There'd be all kinds of stuff. It's public intoxication. It's not intoxication unless you were intoxicated, but that's how it is. And I've run across this before, so I'm speaking from experience. Anyway, I'm just saying I'm apprehensive. I'm going to be live streaming, but my sister lives in a beautiful community, and it's not a through street, so there's not going to be a racing. And they have she has a beautiful, excuse me, backyard, a nice covered porch with some shade, and a beautiful lake down there. And I'm going to be live streaming from that. And my daughter, my sister has a paddle boat that looks like a swan, like they have like in Boston Garden and at the public gardens. And so my daughter's going to have a blast. But Yes, they do. Oh, that's, I'm glad you brought that up, and I want to mention something about that too. When Taiwan police officers are on duty, they run the gumballs, they run the lights. I was watching an episode of Cops with my family years ago, and the cops came upon a car and they turned the lights on, and the people didn't pull over. And they let the lights on. And of course, now what they're doing is they're running the plate and stuff, and they're getting ready. And then they finally went, pull that thing over, right? And I said to my family, I said, watch what happens. I knew this. I swear I knew this. The cop goes over to the car. You don't hear the dialogue. He comes back and he says, it's a misunderstanding. They're from Taiwan. And I was like, see, I told you. Hilarious. The Taiwan people didn't understand they were being pulled over. They just thought that the cops went on duty. It was, I swear to God, it was absolutely hilarious. So I told my wife, I said, that's how police pull you over in the States. So if you're ever driving in the States and they come behind you and they give you the lights, immediately indicate that you're going to stop. I mean, you can go until there's a safe spot, but what I'm saying is you need to slow down, pull over, turn your turn signal on, and indicate at least that you're trying to comply. And so it is amazing. But I mean, I knew it. I knew it was. As soon as I saw that, I didn't want to spill the beans for my family. They thought I was crazy, but yeah, that actually happened. But the other thing too is there was a period of time where there are some guys in the United States that were doing this thing where they call themselves a permanent tourist, that they were not actually a resident of the United States, even though they were, and they had to file taxes in the United States because they didn't leave the United States. See, what determines residency is where you reside. So you can't reside in the United States 365 and 3/4 of a day per year and claim that you're not a resident. But because they did that, what they would do is, we're here. Rob said it just means we're here and we're on duty. Exactly. And I like that too. I like that a lot because you see that it's a cop car from far away, and sometimes you need a cop, and it makes it a lot more visible to see them at night, especially. So these guys would get, somehow they would obtain a fake foreign license, and then they would obtain, like Carlton Press would make an international driver's license. Okay. Well, I have an actual Taiwan issued driver's license, and I have a Taiwan Ministry of Communications, I think it is, and Transportation. It was a transportation. I have an actual international driver's license. But here's the problem. Anybody who has ever seen a Taiwan driver's license knows that it is the fakest looking, homemade, bogus. I did this with a copier at the stationery store and laminated it myself, looking driver's license that ever existed. It does have a watermark on it, but the front of it is laminated with a type of adhesive tape. The back, it's a card, of course, a paper card. I mean, the thing is, like years ago, I mean, like we're talking about 35, 40 years ago, like the state of Florida and North Carolina had these beautiful laminated plastic cards. They were fantastic, very resilient, but they're still paper with a shell around it. Well, with the Taiwan card, the back of the card is still paper. It looks so unbelievably fake. It does have an embossed stamp on it. You know, they're kind of like a postal stamp, more like a notary seal where it might be raised, you know, but it is the fakest looking thing. And so, I don't know. I'm expecting the worst, hoping for the best. I just know that, you know, what's going to happen, that I'm going to be asked for my driver's license. I'm going to give the driver's license along with the international driver's license. And it's not, they're not going to like it. What's your address? And I give the address in Chinese, you know. And then you give the passport. But, you know, according to U.S. law, passport is king. Any law enforcement officer asks you, any court asks you for ID and you give them the passport, that is the highest form of identification, but it doesn't have your address on it. And if they want the address, they will go nuts on you to get the address, right? And the other thing that I don't actually like about this whole situation is most people in America are confused between residency and citizenship. Let me give an example. 51 drones had a drone photography contest. And you guys know me, I've taken probably one of the most amazing drone photos ever. It looks like a UFO. It's over, you know, Yuli and Hualien. There's a hole in the clouds and the rays coming down. One of the, oh really? The Hong Kong Pleasure Vessel Operator's License is home? Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. But the local people don't question it. And so I read the rules, and it said that in order to enter the contest, you must be a legal citizen of the United States. Now think about that for a minute. Is there any such thing as an illegal citizen? Legal citizen is an oxymoron. It's a contradiction in terms. What they meant to say was a legal resident. But they don't get it. People don't get it. And I've had people say to me, they were all upset. So you got permanent residency in Taiwan? Yeah. And they got mad at me. What did you do that for? Hey, you can't go back to the United States. I'm like, what are you talking about? They don't get it. So you just got to be, I mean, it's about experience. You just got to be calm and patient and explain. And hopefully, if you've got a law enforcement officer, that person will understand that you're being respectful. And when you say, well, let me explain it to you. But the good thing is, you got the passport, but here's the problem. This is my pro tip for you guys. All the systems now entering the US are automated. If there's any way that you can go to an immigration officer and get an actual stamp to enter the US, I did that before. It wasn't quite easy. Rob says, oh dude, the whole citizenship versus travel document thing makes me crazy. Yes, it does. A passport is proof of citizenship, not citizenship itself. 没有空，不要拿我东西。Unbelievable, man. I just won't believe what happened. Joey, good to see you, bro. Lady came up, grabbed the empty beer, which is crushed. She put her hand on this can, which is not empty. Yeah, Rob, you don't understand enough Chinese. Yeah, I don't put up with that. You know, I had back a long time ago, before I used to not drink any kind of soda at all, right? I had like some Sprite I was using for a mixer, and I went inside to the restroom, and I came back out, and somebody had taken my Sprite and just dumped it on the ground and stole it. I chased after him and I called him a thief. Joey, how you doing? Good to see you. Listen, you guys, I want you to follow Joey. He's got some really down home, amazing, in my opinion, live streaming stuff. Like that, when I joined you the other day, Joey, you know, when you're doing the crab, and that was amazing. Now we're talking about some stuff that may be controversial to some, but you know, I'm getting ready to go back to the States, and I'm kind of scared because people are going crazy. They're losing their mind. And the other thing I was just talking about, because we've got Rob on my channel. I got like 3 people watching, so it's easy to keep track of. I like it that way. It doesn't get out of hand, you know. But there's a lot of confusion between citizenship and residency and so forth. And I'm not a U.S. resident, but I'm a U.S. citizen. And you know, like I don't have a U.S. driver's license. And people don't understand that. They think that, you know, if I'm a U.S. citizen, I should have a driver's license. So I usually ask them, like, if like, for example, you're Joey from Brooklyn. So I would ask you, I would say, well, do you have a driver's license from California? You would say, no. Why? Because I don't live there. And I go, bingo. Yeah, I've run into that before. And the other thing I've run into is, I can't put my finger on it, but on the few occasions when I actually had to, yes, I do, but I don't have the respect. That's the thing. And some of the immigration officers have kind of like, they'll say stuff like, oh, you've been away a long time, haven't you? Yeah. And they will start asking me questions about how much money do I have on me and stuff. So if we search you right now, we're not going to find $10,000 in negotiable instruments. I'm like, you won't find $10,000 of musical instruments on me. What are you talking about, son? Oh yeah. Oh, I have no doubt. I have no doubt that if I was going to go back and reside in the U.S. either, you know, temporarily or permanently, I don't think I would have any problem. You know, getting like a reciprocal license in whatever state. It just depends. But yeah. But sometimes, and I don't blame them, but sometimes law enforcement officers are a little bit overzealous and they don't understand like an international driver's license. They think you're trying to like avoid or, you know, anyway, you know what I'm saying. But all I just say is, hey, look, dude, I'm 68 years old and I have no criminal history, so I'm a little too old to start getting into trouble. I am 100% U.S. citizen, and if I want to become a Taiwanese citizen, well, I do. I want to become a Taiwan citizen very bad, but in order to do that, I have to renounce my U.S. citizenship. That creates a lot of complications, which is really interesting. And I talked about this before. You might find this interesting. I fully qualify for Taiwan citizenship. I could go over here to what we call the hukou, which is the household registration. I pay $45. I give them 2 pictures. I fill out in Chinese 2 forms, sign my name in Chinese. 6 weeks later, I get a Taiwan ID. I have a year, and this is for everybody, except, strangely enough, China citizens. But, you know, if you're from the Netherlands or you're from, you know, any other place, France, whatever, it doesn't matter. Even the countries where Taiwan is recognized, like St. Kitts and Nevis, they have to renounce their citizenship. They have a year. But if I go to AIT, the American Institute in Taiwan, and I want to renounce my U.S. citizenship, it costs $2,500 US. And then, because I'm 68 years old, I get Social Security, they take 30% off the top. So it's like, I gotta really, really, really want to be Taiwanese to do this. But I do. And the reason I want to is because, you know, I've integrated, right? When I lived in America, my next door neighbors on the left were Cambodian. My next door neighbors on the right were from, where the heck were they from? I think they were from Puerto Rico, which is actually a U.S., Commonwealth territory. But the point is, they were Americans. They integrated, That's the thing, so. Some of them do. Some of them do, yes. And, oh, that's funny. And, okay, so I'm reading what Rob is saying. Well, there's a famous guy in Taiwan named T.C. Lin. You can look him up on Wikipedia. He's one of the first U.S. citizens to come to Taiwan and renounce his U.S. citizenship. He actually did it when he was a young man and immediately became Taiwanese and immediately was conscripted for the military. And he's wrote a book about it. But he said that he told me personally, as I know the guy, he told me that he went back to the States and the immigration officer said, because what happens is, the passport says your city of birth, right? So you can't fake that. So they looked at it, and he's a Taiwan citizen, but he's born in the United States. And they asked him, they said, well, so what, the goods and services in the United States aren't good enough for you? And he was taken aback by that. So, I mean, my answer to that stuff is, sir, are you asking me is that a personal question, or is that, in line with your duties as an immigration officer, so you know how to answer them? But yeah, my daughter is a dual citizen, and Joey, about that, because you were asked about citizenship, right? Because my daughter was born a U.S. citizen, because I am, and she's born in Taiwan, and my wife is a U.S. citizen, my wife is a Taiwan citizen. She acquired both citizenships at birth. But here's what's interesting. Now, nobody's going to mess with me. No, you're right. But here's the thing, right? Yep, I totally agree. It's just that I hope that I can get the commensurate respect that comes with someone who's never committed a crime and just chooses to live elsewhere. Because, I got to give people content to look at. That's a joke, because you can do content no matter where you're at. It's about, how you present it, right? That was a joke. But the thing is, if you acquire citizenship by birth, it's okay. And if you're a Taiwanese citizen already and because I actually considered doing this. St. Kitts and Nevis, the passport's $500,000. You can just pay the money and get it. And I was like, wow, maybe I should just do that. But the thing is, if I did that now and became a Taiwan citizen, I have to give that up. So it's something to think about. So. Hey, that's cool. You have a family live in Italy? Bro, I want to go to Italy next. Well, that's the thing, right? I'm going to tell you something, Joey. It's the same thing with France. And you know what I'm talking about, brother. I heard all my life that French people were nasty. They're hard to deal with. I went to France, and particularly Paris. They were the most kind, polite, and helpful people. Really, like unbelievable, right? And that's the America that I remember. I remember being in trouble. No, I do. I remember being in trouble before. And people bringing groceries to my home and stuff. That's the U.S. that I remember. I see, and I realize, of course, I recognize that what I'm seeing like on YouTube and stuff is the worst of the worst, but I just see this, the leftist Marxism and the wokeism and things. And my daughter's school has an American agenda, and they had a function a couple months ago, and I was talking to Rob, because Rob lives here too. And yeah, and Parisians are the rudest French people ever, right? But yeah, they were just amazing. I never had a bad situation the whole time, except the landlord that tried to rip me off, but he was unsuccessful. But the point I'm trying to make is that, well, with my daughter's school, I heard that, you know, the magic words, inclusive and equity and all that stuff. So, but the agenda is not quite here yet, but I'm afraid that it will be. But I mean, I treat other people with respect, and I don't talk to people, you know, like that. So, and the other thing that I understand too is if people are nasty or mean to me, I don't owe them any engagement, so I don't feed it, you know. And I might actually like quote a scripture. And the thing is I've had altercations or situations where I was actually able to draw the person out, and it turns out they were having a really bad time. And so I said, we're going to sit down and talk about this. I would much prefer to do that. Yeah, I heard that Italy is next level friendly. And I joke with Joey all the time because he is Italian. And Rob, I know you probably don't know Joey, but you see he and his wife on Facebook, and I always tell him the same thing. I said, Joey, you look like a movie star. You should be in a movie. But of course, you know, it would be a mafia movie, but it's still, you know, it should be in a movie. It's hilarious. But no, he has a fantastic persona. And dude, you would love it. He was putting crab pots out. And he had like that, Joey, that last time I was there, you had like 70 some people, right? Now I made the big mistake. The biggest mistake I made was I used my personal, you know, channel account to visit your live stream, and you told everybody to follow me. So they follow me, my personal channel account, which I don't use. That was hilarious. So, yeah. Well, that's exactly right. And that is in strong evidence. And that's why people love you. So, now that's why I love Taiwanese. Because a lot of people don't know this. You know, no, you did. And brother, I appreciate it. A lot of people don't know this, but Taiwan is the only country in Asia where gay marriage is legal. And you know, people don't care about that. Oh, no big deal. Yeah, I don't really care about that either. But what it is an indicator of freedom. It's an indicator of acceptance and tolerance, right? And Rob will tell you too. Taiwan people don't care about anything except how you are. I mean, they don't even care about what you say, they care about what you do, right? And they're a little bit curious. I mean, I've had like Taiwan men say, "Can I touch your beard?" Back when I had a beard, you know, things like that. And some of my black friends have told me that sometimes Taiwanese people will come up and say, "May I touch your skin, is it okay?" Because they don't have any experience with it. They're just kind of like, you know, they're curious. But it really doesn't matter. They're super tolerant and they're super helpful. And I am going to say one thing, Joey, because you and I mean, you know, we're basically the same generation, right, bro? Didn't we solve that? Didn't we solve those issues? I mean, look at Woodstock and look at Monterey Pop before 1970 and everything after that. I'm kind of mad at these millennials for starting this stuff again. I don't get it. I want to make sure that I don't miss any comments. I'm going to take a look here. So I like how you said don't let the media get to you. It's not real. I've been careful about showing my daughter stuff. This is my daughter's first trip. So you said we're living in a very polarizing time. What I said before, Joey, was, you know, the very thing, right? We did solve it, yes. Yeah, everybody's curious, exactly. That horrible thing that happened a couple of days ago, if the intent of that evil person had actually happened, come to fruition, I would have canceled my trip because I would expect the United States to be basically in a state of civil war. It was so you know, divisive. And I am concerned about one thing. I know that right now, I'm not talking about people like you, but there's a certain faction of people that, I mean, they really are all about identity politics, and they want to know where you stand. Where do you stand on this issue? Do you support this person? Do you support that person? And yeah, I know. A lot of people worried about it. It was, and you know, the truth is, no matter which side of the political aisle that you're on, that should be sickening to you. And these people that are saying, oh, he missed, like, what's wrong with these people? That's what I'm worried about. But I don't have this seething hatred for anybody except maybe Satan the devil, but I'm just saying, yeah. I'm not political, and I'm going to tell you, quite frankly, because I live here, I don't think I have any right to say anything anyway. Rob is saying Taiwan is very, very free. I say that as a Swissy, and we're very jealous of our freedom and of our democracy. Our modern constitution is a close copy of the US one. That's pretty interesting. I said the Control C and Control V. Yeah, well, that's one of the things that I really like about it. Unhinged people, both sides of the aisle. Yes, there are. And I just prefer to be kind of hinged, you know. But when I hear my daughter, I'm thinking about my sister meeting my daughter. Whenever my sister talking about how she's lost friends she had for like 40 years over politics, it's just, it is. And ultranationalism is too. And I've seen that. It's really bad. So anyway. I hope I didn't say anything that was offensive to anybody earlier in my stream too, but I'm just speaking honestly, but I was kind of, it is insane. That's what it is. It really is a disorder. Because here's the thing. This particular person that we're talking about, okay, the attempt was made on his life. None of those people have met him. He's done nothing to any of them, personally. But me, I've turned down 3 invitations to go to the White House. That man told one of the attorneys that work with him, and one of the attorneys works with people in my organization, that he wanted to hear my story about why I felt I had to move to Taiwan and become successful in a foreign country. But I didn't want to be associated with any political person. That's about all I know about this person. But the request was reasonable, and the people that I know who know this person, the only thing they say about him is he's narcissistic. Well, boo freaking who? So is everybody in Hollywood, and you could say that about every single politician in existence. They're all narcissists. It's just the way it is. But does that make a person bad? See, here's what kills me is the insistence that these things are character flaws or moral failings. No, it's personality. Maybe it might be oh, he lies, yeah. Ooh, wow. Eat the fruit, you will not die. Concept of politicians, I know. Yeah, like the other side doesn't lie. But anyways, yeah, so I just don't want to get too deep in this because I really don't want to make any kind of political statement. But let me show you something. Across the street is a Simple Mart. That used to be a fantastic little store. It was a private store. And now it's been taken over by, well, it's a franchise. But they used to have this Tandaway, actually Tandano was the name of the Filipino rum. It was amazing. But over here is a new 7-Eleven. And the 7-Eleven has a beautiful upstairs section that used to be closed late at night, but now it's open. And I showed that a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, I care about peace in the world. A robust economy and public safety too. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Everybody cares about the same thing. So what are we fighting for? You know? What are we fighting for? Remember Country Joe and the Fish? It's 1, 2, 3. What are we fighting for? Don't give a damn. Going to Vietnam. Remember that? Those were some dark times. A lot of division. And we got through it, man. That was my generation, you know? You know, we got that 7-Eleven. And I love this Pocket 3 with the black mist filter. Man, that thing is just amazing. And that is a, it's like a, what you call, that's just a windbreak. So what I do sometimes is, there's a traffic light right there, you can see. Actually, let me just go make sure we got it. Traffic light right there, you can see. No, it's a fantastic camera, I love it. And so inexpensive for what you get. It took me a while to figure out. I actually had to develop a procedure to make sure that I could live stream with this thing. And I've been live streaming ever since. It's amazing. I'm using the DJI Mic 2 connected by Bluetooth with the noise reduction on. It makes a tremendous difference. But I used to sit here and watch these guys. See, this street here is a yellow light, but this street here is a red light. Like that guy going there, that's a red light. Yet I would see these guys go blasting through there and not even slow down. It's amazing. Yeah, I like what Rob Kilo says. Yep. Well, I believe in rule of law, and I follow the law. I'm a legal immigrant. But the interesting thing is, I'm what we call a permanent resident. A lot of residency cards, you know, for different countries are based on things like having a job or being married. You know, you can get a marriage-based visa or an employment-based visa. I got married in 2007, and I got a regular, what we call an ARC. An interesting thing happened. You have to get the ARC updated every 3 years, right? And so, gosh, I've been here since, I have lived here since 2004, 20 years. But I got married in 2007. I was living on a visitor's visa, and nobody cares. As long as you got a legal visa here, nobody cares. Nobody asked me, you know, I would go in and out of Taiwan dozens of times. Nobody ever asked me what I was here for. Didn't have to report anything. So finally I get married and I apply and I get the ARC, the Alien Registration Certificate. It's really a card. And I had that a number of years. And after 5 years, you qualify for a permanent one, right? And I never got it. So one day I'm at the place. I'm renewing my ARC. And they go, well, why don't you get an APRC? And I was joking with a lady. I said, well, I'm not a criminal. She says, what do you mean? I said, well, to get the to get the permanent APRC, to get the permanent residency, I have to go through some crap agency in the United States and get the FBI and all this I have to fingerprint myself and all this stuff. And I'm not a criminal. I'm not going to be fingerprinted like a common criminal. And she said, you've been here so long, you don't have to get fingerprinted. I'm like, what? Apparently, I've been here so long, the cops already know who I am. I'm not a troublemaker, because of course the police station's right down there. Actually, a lot of these cops, right, that come by, I'll go like this, and they'll roll down the window, and I'll go like, hey, show she's a hole, and we'll ching you bay. It's like, when you get time off, come back and I'll treat you to a drink. And they start laughing, right? Yeah. I mean, seriously, when I went to Indonesia the first time and I saw the full fingerprint scanner, I'm like, no. And then, of course, the last time I went to China, the country I said I would never go to again, and I saw the full fingerprint scanners, I wish I had the gummy bears with me. But I do. And, you know, when I call them, when I need them, like people park in my space, they always come and visit me, and I'm respectful to them. And they help me with stuff like, you know, the traffic mirror was aimed the wrong way, and I brought it to their attention, and they talked to the village master in addition to me talking to them. But they said, no, you've been here so long. So I got the APRC. And it's funny because they always want to know your financial background, you know, and I don't have a job. So I got an APRC just based on, you know, assets, which is cool. Which is harder to get, but that was nice because they didn't make it harder, you know, than it had to be. They didn't bust me on, you know, because I don't work anymore. I'm too old for that, right? So, yeah. But I love it here, and I love the freedom. And Rob will tell you that the level of personal freedom here is actually higher than North America and much of Europe. Because here's the thing. It's been said, you know, there are scholars like Jordan Peterson and some others that talk about the fact that one of the reasons that, and you listen to Yomi Park, and I've read her book, one of the reasons that like Marxist socialist viewpoints are becoming so popular is because people don't really understand what they are, and they haven't lived under them. But here in Taiwan, there is memory, local memory of being under martial law. Taiwan has the unique distinction of being being a place in the world that has had the longest period of martial law during what they call the White Terror. Oh, so you don't even need, okay, that's cool. Amazing, amazing. They know what free means, and they reject any attempt at infringing on those rights. It's amazing. And like, you know, you see on YouTube, everybody's complaining about how they have fist fights in Taiwan Parliament. Yeah, they do, because they're adamant about their freedoms. Everybody thinks that Taiwan is like so chaotic and stuff because of that. But, you know, a woman can walk the streets any hour of the day or night and nothing will happen. And the other thing I like about it is the men here, you know, they're not macho, but they're manly men. I remember one time I was at the UPS center getting a package, and I got it, and I came out and I saw a Caucasian woman with her children, and the kids were kind of on the ground behind a car. I'll answer that in just a second, Joey. Good question, thank you. And I was like, what's going on? And I walked over and I Do you speak English? Yeah. What's wrong? And she said, oh, the kid's ball fell under the car. Well, jumped on the ground and landed on the ground, and I'm reaching under the car, and two Taiwan men saw me, and they ran over, and they're bending down, and they're talking to me in Chinese. They go, what's wrong? You okay? And I just said, yeah, their ball rolled under the car. And they're like, okay. And they waited. They waited until I grabbed it and, recognized I'm an old fart. They grabbed my arm and helped me up. So that's what they do. That's pretty cool. This is a cool place. Hey, Joey, you would dig it here, man. If you ever want to bring your wife here, I'll hook you up, man. There's some amazing places. And the best thing, right, is like on my street is a lady that runs a rooming house, $30 a night. It's not 5-star, it's 1-star. But that's how you get the amazing experiences, is in those kind of places. Because you know what? The inside of the Marriott looks the same. You wake up in the morning and you go, am I in Singapore or I'm in New York? I don't know. I don't remember. So they're very concerned. Very concerned. Don't get me started about Hong Kong. I miss Hong Kong. Hong Kong was my favorite place to go for the weekend, to hang out with my wife, buy stuff. Like I bought all my jeans there. And enough people speak Mandarin there, I could get around. It was great. I got an amazing Hong Kong story. I don't think I've ever told you. Joey, nobody is concerned about China here. Nobody. Because we know the truth. China is bankrupt. China has no professional soldiers that are below general level. The average conscript can't stand to be in the military. They want to die. The laying flat thing, you've all heard about that in the United States. They're laying flat, right? They lay flat in the military too. The other thing that the Western media doesn't tell you is that when she says, we're the same people on both sides of the strait, to some degree that's true. Almost every single Taiwan person that I know has family in the mainland. A lot of them haven't met. My wife's parents were from the mainland. They came here when they were little children. My wife's father was actually about to be abandoned and his older brother carried him. There's just heart-wrenching stories like that, right? But somewhere, somehow, these soldiers are going to be going, I think Auntie Lau lives there. I think I got cousins, they're not going to be enthusiastic about that. It's the little pinks. It's what they call the Wu Mao. Literally, Wu Mao means 5 cents, or I guess you would translate that 50 cents. Yeah, Wu Mao, Mao Qian. Let's see, 美金的毛钱. Yeah, that's 50 cents in English. The Wu Mao, the 50-cent army, right? Those are the guys that are paid to sit in a room and interact and make all this. I forgot. See, we don't have Mao Qian, and we don't have change. The smallest denomination in Taiwan is the NT dollar, so we don't have decimal dollars. So, speak Mandarin. I don't hear people speaking Cantonese at all. There's some some Hong Kong people here, but I love to talk about language. I'll talk about language in just a second. But so yes. Yeah, I'm not going to read, people can read your comment, but yes. See, that's the thing though, is that Taiwan looks at what's going on there and they're going, nope, not on my watch. And so every day, Rob will tell you, every day, the Mirage 2000s, they tear up the sky, they go around there. These guys aren't fooling around. I have had personal dealings with the Taiwan Air Force. Personal. They actually invited me on an investigation for Taiwan aircraft, Air Force aircraft that crashed in my neighborhood in 2007 because I was the last person to photograph it before it crashed. And that's another story, but language is so cool. I love them too, and I got a really good photo I'm going to share with you, Rob. By the way, Joey, let me tell you something. Rob is a Swiss-born UK citizen. He comes from the financial world. The guy's a genius, but he's an unbelievable researcher. He's also a linguist. He and I are teaming up. We spent the last 2 months doing some serious research. When I come back from the US, we're starting a new YouTube channel called Map Freaks, because that's what we are. We just discovered, this is amazing, there's a Japanese airfield right over here. It's about 6 kilometers from my house. It was built in 1944. It's called the Hongmao Airfield. There are 2 anti-aircraft artillery bunkers that are still there. There are 2 fire control water towers that are still there. There's a 3rd bunker that I think's been eradicated, but I'm pretty sure we can find the foundation for it. We are going to present this. We're going to use drone footage. Rob and I have theorized a couple of very interesting, Russians would say postulations, I guess, in English. And it turns out that, well, we think we're right. We're gonna prove it. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. We're gonna prove it with drone photography. So anyway, just the beginning. I've already started working on the music for the soundtrack, and Rob's also a recording engineer and audio mixer too, which is great. So I started working on the soundtrack. I've got the outline for the theme song, and I got to do some of the bumper music and all that stuff. But here's the thing. I know people that live in the area, and what Rob proved, beyond a shadow of a doubt, because his research is impeccable, there are houses that were in place, like right beside the water tower in some critical infrastructure, because the Japanese put them there, knowing that the Allied forces wouldn't bomb civilians. So they counted on those people being basically human shields. I can contact those families. Many of those families have photographs and records. We're expecting to maybe even find some relics. We're going to try to document all this stuff. It's going to be pretty interesting and pretty in-depth. So we'll have to see how far we can go. I'm just telling you what we're planning. Whole thing may be a bust in that respect, but absolutely the mapping, and that's all been done. And I personally went out to one of the water towers, and I went out to one of the anti-aircraft bunkers and photographed them the other day, and I took some 360 photos of the inside of it. So all that will get documented. So it's going to be amazing. We're map freaks, and so many people are. So many people just love looking at maps and imagining that they're there and taking imaginary travels. And I can't tell you how many times, when I got my first GPS, my handheld GPS was 1994, and I used to just look at all the waypoints that I collected, and I used to just imaginary travel at night. I would lay in bed and just look. It was amazing. So we can tell a story. It's an important story. And what Rob says is so true. You just keep your eyes open. Because, in this neighborhood, there's stuff from the Qing dynasty. Taiwan is really old. And Taiwan history goes back even... Here's what's so amazing. It's recently been proven through DNA that all the Australasian people, all the Polynesians, including up into Hawaii, originated in Taiwan. Now get this. The southern coast of Taiwan on the east side has mutually intelligible languages with Batanes and other provinces of northern Philippines. That is pretty weird. That's pretty cool. So after we have established the problem is there's too many things to do. There's 100 different things within a 20 kilometer radius of here to report on. But hopefully, Rob and I will do some stuff in the South, and we may actually take, it is incredible, we actually may take a trip to some of the islands in the Philippines and talk about that too, because there is in fact, it's still intact. It's abandoned, but it's intact. There's a Japanese communications depot in southern Taiwan, and there is a corresponding receiving station in the Philippines, because you know the Japanese held the Philippines too, right? So Taiwan is so incredibly important, but you know it's a small island, so it's natural that people might overlook the significance. But in addition to the Han Chinese who came here after World War II, we have, Rob, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 13 government-recognized indigenous tribes. They call them Taiwan Indians. But the number's really like 23. I have a number of Aboriginal friends. They're amazing. They have their own language. You're asking me about language, right? Now, Taiwan has an accent. It's amazing. When you listen to people from Beijing talk, they roll their tongue like, rah, rah. And they often will, I call it pirate talk because I'm an asshole. They go R a lot. Like, for example, if you say like, literally it's one dot, but it means a little like Yidian in Chinese. In Taiwan, they'll say, and in like the mainland, they'll say Yidian R. They put this R roll tongue thing on it. We don't have that in Taiwan. I was in Beijing airport and I ordered a tea at the airport, and the guy made my tea and he handed a tea to me. He goes, "You sound like you're from Taiwan." I said, "Yeah, thank you." But the other thing is with the rolled tongue, any of the sh kind of sounds become sh. So if you were to say, "I know," like I understand, you would say in Taiwan, 我知道. But there they say in the mainland, and I know I'm painting a broad brush. There's like probably 1,000 different accents. But basically it's 我知道. And when I'm in China or in some place, yeah, that's true. And they've had to assimilate. And let me take a side note. The funny thing is, Taiwan people call the Aboriginals high mountain people, but they used to be plains people. They moved to the mountains to get away from the Han. But when the Japanese legally acquired Taiwan through the Treaty of Shimonoseki, to perpetuity, by the way, the biggest problem they had to deal with the headhunters. There were headhunters in Taiwan into the 19th century. Fantastic. When I go to China, I hate the accent too. I will say that. I don't know. I don't know why, and it sounds bad. Every time I go to China, or I have to deal with talking with mainland people, or if I'm listening to mainland media, all I hear is shh, 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 shh. And of course, my wife's native. I'm like, "Honey, what did he say?" He said this. I said, "Why didn't you just say it?" 'Cause, but yeah. So it's just a really, really thick kind of accent. So Taiwan is southern, and we're viewed as southern people. So we're kind of like, "Well, how y'all doing?" That kind of thing, right? And in American culture, of course, that accent sometimes is viewed as being maybe people maybe aren't too smart, which I think is totally off base. But the point being, though, that accent in U.S. culture is viewed as being extremely polite, right? "Y'all come back, you hear? Make yourself at home," that kind of stuff, right? That's viewed as being polite. So what I found is it's hilarious. I can do a China accent if I want to, and I have done it sometimes for some necessity. But I can also kind of overdo a little bit, the Taiwan accent. Just put it on pretty thick. And yeah, which is totally ridiculous. I know. See, I lived in Boston's North End, and there is kind of a similar, Italian community. It's not the same accent, but I used to hear a lot of the, hey, what's the matter for you kind of stuff, and it's like, I never thought it was uneducated. I just thought it was, a regional thing, right? But there's something about, never lost his accent, yeah, why would he? Exactly. Why would he? What was the professor going to say? No, you can't say like that, right? So, in some situations, I will kind of put on the Taiwan accent, and it's kind of like disarming. There's some things that Taiwanese say, like, there's a way you can say, in English, is there a problem? It might seem kind of, forward and maybe a little bit like a challenge. But if you can imagine, there's a way to say that where it sounds kind of like, hey, what's going on? And in Taiwan, we'll say, hey, yo, 什么事吗? The word 事 has so many meanings. 事 means like a thing. 事情 is a thing, like an issue. Yo, 什么? 什么 means what? 有什么事? Like what? Yo means have. Okay, so is there a thing? It's like, is there an issue? 有什么事吗? And ma is a question particle. It turns the sentence into a kind of like in Korean, what they say, nika or imnida for the positive particle and imnika for the question particle. Chinese has that too, the ma for the question particle. So yeah, you can just go, hey, 有什么事吗? It's kind of like saying, hey, what's up? What's going on? You can say, it's like if you came to somebody in your neighborhood and you said, hey, is there some kind of problem going on here? People would understand you're being friendly. And something like that can really disarm people here, because the proper response to that is like, oh, mail. There's no problem. Have I heard from Dave? Yes, I have. I don't normally I talk with Dave every single day or like 4 or 5 times a week, and I haven't been in touch with him as much recently because of my schedule, but also because of him. He's extremely busy. And he told me he was busy. Dave's a Sigma male kind of guy, and he is not, like superficially communicative. So no, everything's cool. I did talk with him today. Everything's cool. But yeah, he's just like really busy. He's busy with work, and he's not taking things like social media and online stuff. He's not taking it very seriously, which obviously he shouldn't. So, oh really? Well, I'll tell him you're asking for him if you want. Yeah, and I've had the pleasure of meeting him. You remember he came here. It was great. When I come back from the States, I gotta take a quick little trip over to Vietnam, which is so cool about being in Taiwan because it's a hub. It's so close. I mean, Vietnam's 3 hours, Thailand's 3 hours, Japan's 4. I really, really want to go visit Dave. I want to go to Gion. I guess it's closed now, but I want to do the real Taiwan and Dave in Osaka, go hunting for geisha together. So it'd be interesting because Rob and I are not going to be hunting geisha. we'll be hunting, Japanese relics, but oh, there's a geisha hair comb. I don't think we're going to find any hair combs, anything like that. That'd be pretty hilarious. I've seen John 2 times, and I regret one thing. In 2020, I went to Chiang Rai, northern Thailand, in the Golden Triangle, and John was about 50 minutes or so, probably by tuk-tuk, or bus actually, to the south, and I didn't go see him because I was with my wife and my daughter, and it would have inconvenienced them. They rely on me, when we travel, they rely on me for communication. My Thai is way better than my wife's, and of course my wife speaks Taiwanese, she speaks English, but even when Thais speak English, I can understand English better, and I understand the use of their language. And so, like, if I was to, anyway, so I didn't, right? Yeah. But, Jevons has been here a couple times. But you know who I've seen the most out of everybody? This is amazing. Oh, I was very, very pleased to meet JL, too. Because I've been a big fan of JL's for a long time. The person that I have seen out of all those live streamers the most is Yuka from Japan. I have met Yuka 4 times. It's amazing. And she's coming back here again. She loves Taiwan. She said she wants to move here. So if she's serious about moving here, I'll assist her if I can. But that'd be great actually having her here. But because she, would be a remarkable force for for publicizing Taiwan. Yeah, and you know what I like about Yuka? She's a decent person. You know what I'm talking about. She's a decent woman. It's amazing. Yes, we have. We have. The sad part about it is that the recreations that have been attempted, like Heckle, have been a complete failure. I got an iPhone for the first time last year. Never had an iPhone before. Using it now. Downloaded Heckle. Month later, deleted it. I couldn't believe the people that were using live streaming titles to fight with each other. With a 20 or 30 second blank screen, they just put their hand in front of the camera, So, yes, well, I can certainly understand that, but I'm here to tell you, brother, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. The video quality isn't all that good, and the audio's in mono, and Simon went on. Yeah, so and what Rob said too about Periscope. That's what I did. But I went to YouTube even before the demise. I was on YouTube a couple years before. I was experimenting, I was using different apps, Streamlabs and stuff. I was able to get the comments and everything to work in Streamlabs. It was fun. But now we got Prism. And I'm fortunate enough to make contact with Prism. And I'm using the Line app, L-I-N-E, for messaging. And the Android developer is in our Line group. I formed a little tech group, for that. So much less drama. Joey, do you use Line? It's by Naver, which is a Korean company, but Line is actually from the Japan, branch. But yeah. If you use Line, man, I'd love to add you. It'd be great. The thing about Periscope was it's 2015. It was new. I mean, I've been live streaming since 1995. Yes, Line. They say, I'm not, I have no way of knowing this, but people told me that I was the second recording artist in the world to live stream a recording studio session in 1998. I have at least one screen cap from that session. But I was in the studio for 8 hours, and during gaps, we weren't doing takes. USB camera, long USB cable. I showed everybody the multi-track recorder, the console, all the outboard effects and stuff. So I've been live streaming for a long time. It was mobile live streaming that was new. And Kayvon wasn't even like tuned in enough to want to make it landscape. He was always about, yeah. Oh yeah. I had a Windows 95 machine, and Windows 95 in 1995. And about 9 months later, I had ISDN, which is two 56K lines put together. But yeah, I brought my PC in, and I did a number of live streams from the studio back then. So yeah, I am. But Joey, that. And like, what's it now, about $2.50? That information and $2.50 will get you what? Half an iced coffee at Dunkin'? It just, yeah. They tell me I invented a new form of music in 1995 when I released Gotta Keep Dancing. I got the FCC to change how they administered Morse code tests on ham radio. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk anymore, this is crap. But yeah. That was fun. And it was black and white. I do have, Rob, I have to show you. I have a picture of me with my mustache and my big gut sitting in front of the console. It's a side shot and in the studio. I'll find that and send it to you. And of course, it's like 4x3. But that's what it was, so. Was it broadcast on the internet or was it broadcast on legacy media? Somebody told me who the first one was. I keep getting in my head the psychedelic furs, but I don't think it was. It was somebody that was contemporaneous with them. So ISDN, that is so cool. That it must have been on the internet, yeah. Must have been on the internet. Yeah, and I met a lot of people back then. Do you remember those days? Okay, we're talking like 95, 96, 97. You'd meet someone and go, hey, how many people have you met from the internet? Well, I met 10 people. Yeah, really, I met 15 people. That's how it was, so that's really cool. Well, if it was 95, that would have been right, that would have been right there. They were probably using CUC-me. That's what I was using. And I had to get somebody that I knew who was a professor of electrical engineering at a college had got permission to install a CUC-me reflector on their, oh, I see, okay. A dedicated line, right. But they have, if they were using CUC-me, it depends what they were using. Because later on, people were using Microsoft NetMeeting and stuff and ICU2, which just turned out to be like a tool for cybersex. But CUC-me it required a special server called a reflector. And that's because whatever was broadcast to it would be reflected out to other people. And the CUC-me software will allow you to have 8 different windows open at a time. So the artist would always tell you 2 things. Number 1, only open our window. Number 2, turn off your camera. So all the bandwidth would, be dedicated to those people, right? Hey, Patrick, how you doing? Oh, listen to this. See, Patrick's the man. You guys, I don't know if you guys know Patrick. He's my man in France, and he's the creator of the automation system that I use in my studio. Unbelievable. And I got to meet him and his beautiful wife and stay at their home last year. And I say this all the time. They had a profound influence on my life. Patrick, we have brother Joey from Brooklyn, and we have brother Rob, who lives here in Taiwan. He's a Swiss-born UK citizen, and he and I are working on a new YouTube channel. I haven't had a chance to tell you about it, so. Severe tire damage, 1993. Wow. Multicast. I wonder what the protocol that they were doing. So tell us about your new toys so everybody knows. Anyway, I did my recording session live streaming. It was 1996. And I did several of them in a row. Now, let me tell you one of the coolest things about doing that. I did the live stream, didn't think anything of it, right? And then about 9 months. I see. That's really cool, though. So I didn't think anything about it, right? Just a matter of course what we're doing. So I got this email. This guy said, he sent me an email. He said, remember the live stream you guys did? So yeah, he says, I stayed for the whole thing. 8 hours, saw the whole thing. Then he says to me, I just heard that song on the radio, man. And he was going on. He said it was the coolest thing that ever happened. I said, thanks for telling me. I love hearing those stories. Now, Patrick just talks about his new toy. He built a Citycaster bass guitar for fun. Okay, don't let him fool you. Patrick is an actual engineer. But he just posted a YouTube video. Now, spoiler alert. I've been to his shop. He has a CNC machine in a shop. And he's an engineer. When he means Citycaster, the caster comes from, of course, the Fender style of guitar. He made a bass and he used the CNC machine to machine a map of a city on the face of it. And I'm not going to tell you what the map is. You have to look at it. Joey, if you check out Patrick's channel, Patrick he's a programmer by trade, and he designed and created an automation system for Behringer consoles and the Reaper DAW, and that's what I use in my studio. So you'll see that, and it's I mean, if you're interested in that kind of technology, it's fascinating to watch that. Oh, good. Oh, so you love technology. Yeah, so you will dig that. And so I should do more of those. I have one small video in my studio channel about that, but it's not worth watching, I don't think. But yeah, he talks about all the innovations that he's done. See, in the old days when we were mixing records, we have to do everything manually. And like Bohemian Rhapsody was mixed manually. 3 people, Roy Thomas Baker, and apparently, an EMI Studios intern. And Freddie Mercury handled all the vocals. But the problem is, you press play on the tape, And as the tape's rolling, if you want to hear what the song sounds like, you have to physically do the moves. And you have to do the moves every time. And of course, you're human and you're going to make differences. And of course, okay, I think we got it. And you press record on the master recorder. Then you press play on the multi-track and you play all the tracks back and it's like hit or miss, right? So here's what happens. I need to rebuild my room because it's not photogenic. It's a very utilitarian room, but yeah, you're right. So the problem is you're listening back to the track and you go, oh my gosh, we should have done this and that. And it's because you can't spend time listening. So when automation happened, and you can really tell because it happened in the early 80s, you hear songs like, Talk to You Later, or She's a Beauty by the Tubes, anything Umberto Gatica did, some of the Chicago stuff. Automation that remembers the fader moves and the pans, and then so like, you play the tape and the solo comes up, the lead vocal comes up, you do all the moves on the console faders, you play the song back on the multi-track recorder. You're not recording on the master recorder. Yeah, you keep playing it until you get it perfect, because now you're just listening. The computer's making the moves. You go, oh, I got to change this. And like with the SSLG and the capacitive caps on the faders, you just touch it and it goes into write mode, and you can overwrite the automation and let go. It goes back into read mode. And what Patrick has done is he's basically recreated that. But like with the Behringer X32 or the Behringer Wing that talk this OSC protocol, you can automate something between 10 and 20,000 parameters. I mean, not just the pans. I can change the effects. I can change compression, equalization. I can change, the head amp gain. Anything you can think of on a console can be completely automated. I am getting mixing precision using a mixing desk, a console that, hey, okay, take care. Oh, I'm sorry. Joe, you got to go. Okay, bro, thanks for joining. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. And you spent a lot of time with us, and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much. Oh, it's 29,538 parameters on Wings. There you go. And Patrick would know. But the point is that anything you can think of. And so I'm getting the kind of precision on mixes with a console, for, I don't know, 1/20th, 1/30th, 1/50th the cost of what I would have got, back in the 80s. And it's better. It's phenomenal. So anyway, I did a mix tonight. It's unbelievable. But Patrick, I got a problem. This is interesting. You may find this interesting. I'm getting periodic spikes in my audio only on VSTs. So I posted something in the Reaper group on Facebook. It has nothing to do with Automate. Did a mix today. While I was mastering it, listening to playback, I go, wow, I hear those clicks. Because, if you're accentuating some of the upper frequencies, it brings it out. And I do tests all the time to make sure my noise floor is down, so forth. And I can have all 32 tracks up, everything to 2-mix, and I can record the 2-mix bus, and it's dead quiet. The noise floor is 95 dB down or something ridiculous, right? But when the VSTs are running, I'm getting these weird lines. And they're not what they call Nyquist, where they're, logarithmic, when they're periodic and predictable. Apparently, that is a sample rate mismatch. So my next exercise is to find out how to force Reaper into making all of... Nope, my CPU isn't even breaking a sweat. Full bore, I got like 3 to 5% utilization. It's crazy, right? Apparently, some of the VSTs are operating in 44.1, but Reaper is converting them, and there's a conversion mismatch. So I have to research how to force Reaper, how to use Reaper to force the VSTs into 48 kilohertz. That's my next thing. So that's my project for tomorrow. Doesn't affect anything else. If I record native audio, through my interface, through the console, whatever. Real audio sources, microphone, guitars, whatever. No problem. Noise force, beautiful. None of those clicks. Only on the VSTs. The other thing I'm not sure about, please God, don't make me have to move the X32 to 44.1 because I really don't want to. I did consider that though. But, I mean, wherever possible, I'm using VST3, right? Ugh. It is messy. The other thing, though, is that non-VST plugins, I got to check some of those, like my UAD LA2A. Some of the effects, I got to make sure that they're not doing the same thing. Really. I tried increasing, the buffer size. It didn't do anything, so it's not related to that. It's definitely a sample rate thing, but not a buffer size thing. So that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. And the problem is I'm up against a deadline because I'm going to be going to the States in 2 weeks. And I've got a mix that I'm trying to do for a client, and I want to, I want to get it finished before I go. And I don't want to tell them I've got a dumb, sticky problem that I can't solve. I want to solve it. One way to do it, though, would be, of course, the problem is then I got to set it. Oh gosh, this gets so tricky. I got Dante controller. I got to set that to 44.1 and all this other stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it is 1 a.m. We have been online for 118 minutes. Take care, Patrick. Thank you. I'll get it, but it'll take a while. So let me say goodbye, good evening to everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Hope I didn't offend anyone. Yes, it is, Rob. But just think, if we were out by the bunkers, we'd press N, drink some rum, and have a snooze on the camping chairs. Wow, what a life. Let me get out of here. You guys take care. Thanks so much for joining. And we'll see you next time On the real-time one, remember, I love all you guys. And if you like this kind of, banter, feel free to like and subscribe. Don't feel obligated to do so. So, ladies and gentlemen, signing off now. And this transmission ends now.